do it even after we crash them.
Can I just tell you that right now, Mr. Speaker, Reuters is reporting Iran's nuclear chief says we're going to immediately start reconstituting our nuclear program. I mean,
How do you negotiate?
Are you kidding me?
It's madness. I mean, we're under no illusion that you can just kill all their nuclear ambition overnight. But I think reality has set in over there. We have decimated the upper echelon of their military command as well as their nuclear scientists. I mean, there's not much left for them to rebuild upon. But the idea that they would put out a statement like that at this fragile moment is very frustrating. It goes to show you why Iran has always been an irrational actor. They're not to be trusted, but we've got to use force. I mean, this is what peace through strength really means. You've got to forge the peace through the exercise of strength. That's what decisive leadership, strong leadership that President Trump has provided here allows the opportunity for. So we're going to be consistent. Our message and our actions are going to be consistent. We are going to bring this to a close one way or the other.
Well, the president said this morning that Iran will never rebuild their nuclear facilities. They are all under rocks and they are gone. So if they are claiming that they're going to rebuild, how does the United States respond to that?
Well, look, I think you've got to react, and cooler heads need to prevail. Okay, so obviously this is rhetoric. Iran is really good at that. There's a lot of bluster. That's what you would expect. They have been decimated, and they've been embarrassed on the world stage. So some of this is to be expected. I think it's more talk than action over there, but we're going to have to verify that. So this is a very serious thing. I mean, we've been brought to the brink. It should be only a 12-day war. It should be over now, and we're going to be consistent in our message and our action to ensure that happens. We have to do that.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
All right, Mike, them Patriots told me to calm down and give you a chance. Because, we almost walked you out. We seen you with that diet Dr. Pepper and that Diet Coke. Then you walked in there with that Diet Mountain Dew. We didn't, Mike, we don't care about you holding the baby. He just showed up holding the baby, the newborn baby. Mike, I'm telling you now. All right now. Them Patriots say, Rick, give him a chance. Give him a chance. Let's see this thing through. He got a suit and tie on. All right. All right, Mike. All right. Some of them Patriots was like, I don't know anymore. They wanted you to be walked out, and some of them said they wanted you to be walked out in handcuffs. Mike? All right, Mike. All right. What's going on, family? I hope everybody that's tuned in right now that you're in good spirits, praying for America, praying for peace, praying for President Trump, we just seen what took place these last couple of hours. It's been pretty eye-opening. We've seen people's true colors, and hey, here we are, man. Standing fully behind President Trump and trusting in Trump and this administration, man. And I believe he's going to go down as the best. I'm just saying, look, I got to say it. But he's going to go down as one of the greatest presidents ever, you guys. I'm just serious. Especially one of the greatest presidents in my lifetime. I know that some of y'all get clicked and said, oh, here he go again. But I'm just being real. I'm here for it, family. I'm here for it. Hey. Didn't see him take a bullet and get back up and tell everybody to fight. Never surrendered, never bend the knee. Seen that blood dripping down. Say, yeah, that's my dog. And then this morning I got to see him say, the hell with the fake news once again. And F this. Yeah, they don't know what they doing. Nobody know what they doing, but I know what I'm doing. I've been right about everything. All right. Trump drops the F-bomb too. All right, this is good. Prayers for that DJT, man. Poor fella, y'all running his blood pressure up, and he is done with the foolishness. You know, he been telling y'all they don't need no nuclear weapon. The man done said it 1,000,000 times. Nobody heard him until it's time to do action. And God dog it, we got a tweet at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. I get a tweet. I get a President Trump up and typing. Ain't nobody know nothing. Had them big things in the air and refilled them in the air. Ain't nobody know nothing. Stealth. Congressional approval. My ass. We gonna get things done. Ain't nobody gonna know nothing. Boom, bam, bang. Blow it up. We told you. Can't have it. God dog it. That means you can't have it. And that's it. Now it is time for peace. All right, Mike, let's get into it, Mike. I don't got all day. Them Patriots don't got all night, Mike. Let's jump into it.
Let me be clear and be as clear as possible. The strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities were clearly within President Trump's Article 2 powers as Commander-in-Chief. It shouldn't even be in dispute.
All right, Mike.
Allow me to put my constitutional law hat on for a moment, because that's what I used to do, because both the law and the precedent are important for everyone to understand here. This may answer a lot of questions that you might ask this morning. The framers of our Constitution never intended for the President to seek the approval of Congress every time he exercises his constitutional authority under Article 2 as Commander-in-Chief. Alexander Hamilton argued in Federalist number 70, just for one example, that, quote, energy in the executive is a leading character in the definition of good government. It is essential to the protection of the community against foreign attacks, unquote. This is why the framers did not explicitly set restrictions on the president when it comes to using military force. They understood something very practical about our matchless legislative body here in our Constitution. The way the Congress was set up, they knew it would be a deliberative body, and they knew that process by necessity would take time. And in an emergent and imminent situation, time is not something we always have the luxury of. And so they wanted, in moments of danger and conflict abroad, for one single hand of authority, to have that authority to act decisively and effectively. Now we're hearing some talk about the War Powers Resolution. What is that exactly? Congress passed that legislation in 1973 under President Richard Nixon. It bars the use of armed forces in conflict beyond 60 days without congressional authorization or a formal declaration of war. A 30-day withdrawal period follows thereafter under the statute. It also requires that the President inform Congress within 48 hours of use of military force. Obviously, President Trump did that. Obviously, in the modern era with the 24-hour news cycle and social media, nothing goes by unnoticed. This might have made some sense in 1973, but I'm not even sure it was constitutional, and I'll tell you about that as well. Many respected constitutional experts argue that the War Powers Act is itself unconstitutional. I'm persuaded by that argument. They think it's a violation of the Article 2 powers of the Commander-in-Chief. I think that's right. If you look back at the Founders' intent, you read the Federalist Papers, you read the records of the Constitutional Convention, I think that is right. And many more scholars believe the President is correct to use this executive authority in exactly the manner that he did over the weekend. I am a jealous guardian of Congress's Article 1 authority. We are the defenders of it here, and we take it seriously, and I always will be. But exercising the authority to declare war isn't something we've done since World War II. And everybody in this room knows, since then we've had more than 125 military operations, from Korea and Vietnam to Iraq and Afghanistan. They have occurred without a declaration of war by Congress. Presidents of both parties have exercised that authority frequently. A few recent examples: President Biden ordered strikes on Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. President Obama launched an 8-month-long bombing campaign in Libya to oust Gaddafi. President Clinton initiated air patrols and air strikes in Bosnia and a bombing campaign in Yugoslavia. Every one of those actions were taken unilaterally and without prior authorization from Congress. The bottom line is the Commander-in-Chief is the President. The military reports to the President. And the person empowered to act on the nation's behalf is the President.
Iran violated the ceasefire. President's not happy with Israel because they're about to respond. What could you tell us, and what was the president like when you were talking to him?
Well, I spoke to him just after he got onto the plane, and I was watching your broadcast in the background while I was talking to him on the flight. And look, he's frustrated. Everybody just saw that demonstrated. We all are, right? The ceasefire is fragile. It's very important. The president wants cooler heads to prevail, and we do as well. And he's going to have conversations, ongoing conversations with Prime Minister Netanyahu this morning. He's already spoken to him. I've reached out to my counterpart over there, the Speaker of the Knesset, Speaker Ohana, to echo that this is our concern and our plea to them not to retaliate and not to escalate. We need to calm the situation down. I'm optimistic that'll happen. I think the president is as well. We're on the verge of real peace in the Middle East, and we've got to forge that.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you've seen some of the reports. You have better intelligence as well. But Iran still doesn't want to abandon the nuclear program. They still want to do it, even after we crash them.
Can I just tell you that right now, Mr. Speaker, Reuters is reporting Iran's nuclear chief says we're going to immediately start reconstituting our nuclear program. I mean,
how do you negotiate?
Are you kidding me?
It's madness. I mean, we're under no illusion that you can just kill all their nuclear ambition overnight. But I think reality has set in over there. We have decimated the upper echelon of their military command as well as their nuclear scientists. I mean, there's not much left for them to rebuild upon. But the idea that they would put out a statement like that at this fragile moment is very frustrating. It goes to show you why Iran has always been an irrational actor. They're not to be trusted, but we've got to use force. I mean, this is what peace through strength really means. You got to forge the peace through the exercise of strength. That's what decisive leadership, strong leadership that President Trump has provided here allows the opportunity for. So we're going to be consistent. Our message and our actions are going to be consistent. We are going to bring this to a close one way or the other.
Well, the president said this morning that Iran will never rebuild their nuclear facilities. They are all under rocks and they are gone. So if they are claiming that they're going to rebuild, how does the United States respond to that?
Well, look, I think you've got to react and cooler heads need to prevail. Okay, so obviously this is rhetoric. Iran is really good at that. There's a lot of bluster. That's what you would expect. They have been decimated and they've been embarrassed on the world stage. So some of this is to be expected. I think it's more talk than action over there, but we're going to have to verify that. So this is a very serious thing. I mean, we've been brought to the brink. It should be only a 12-day war. It should be over now, and we're going to be consistent in our message and our action to ensure that happens. We have to do that.
So, Mr. Speaker, a lot of your Democratic colleagues in leadership are saying they didn't get a call from the president that this was happening. Caroline Levitt said that's not true. They reached out to him. Apparently, Chuck Schumer answered the phone, but Hakeem Jeffries didn't. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I've spoken to Hakeem about this. He's my counterpart, of course, in the House, the Democratic leader. He wasn't available when they called, and that's just the way these things go. It is ridiculous for anyone to assume.
He ain't never available until it's time to come up and... Anyways.
That the commander-in-chief, using his Article 2 power under the Constitution, should have to consult...
And if I was Trump, I wouldn't even call Chuck. Keep Schumer out of it.
All the members of Congress, or even all the leadership in Congress, every time he has to make a decisive, quick action. I mean, that would not be feasible. So the idea that they're saying that what he's done is somehow inappropriate or unconstitutional is nonsense. None of them ever complained when Barack Obama and Joe Biden used the same authority to drop bombs all over the Middle East, all over the world. It's entirely inconsistent with their previous actions, and I think we call them on that hypocrisy.
I think it's a joke because go back to Bush 41, Panama. Go back to Grenada with Reagan. Reagan didn't ask for permission. So from Clinton, 4-day bombing campaign in Iraq, didn't ask for permission. But let's move on and talk about something that I think benefits you not to be in the headlines. Big, beautiful bill. The Senate's wrestling with it big time. And Senator Thune's somewhat frustrated. He's very calm like you under pressure, said, I'm keeping everybody through the 4th of July because we got to get this done. So while the Senate works, does the House stay too and prepared to pounce immediately and start working on it? Because the bill's already been changed. You guys got to revisit it too.
Yeah, I'm gathering all the House Republicans together within the hour, and we're going to talk about the schedule. If the Senate does its job, not if, but when, I believe they will. I believe Leader Thune has his steady hand at the wheel. They're going to deliver that product through the Senate, and we'll have to take it and act upon it. The July 4th deadline is an important one. The president is insistent about it. I have been from the very beginning, and I think we can get this job done. I remain very optimistic that we will.
Mr. Speaker, what are the
big,
differences in the House and the Senate when it comes to Medicaid and the SALT deductions and other areas? And what do you say to the Democrats that are pushing this narrative that's not true, that Republicans are cutting Medicare and Medicaid?
Yeah, it's of course nonsense. We had their ads taken down when they began to claim that early on in the process. We are not cutting Medicaid. We are strengthening the program for the people that desperately need it and deserve it. The populations that Medicaid is intended to help, and that's the elderly and the disabled and young pregnant women, for example. So what we're doing is reinstituting work requirements, which is about an 85% issue in public opinion polling, because if a young able-bodied man is able to work, he should. So we put into our product in the House version a 20-hour-a-week requirement, okay? Either work, be looking for a job or in a job training program, or volunteer in your community. Hey, it's good for you and everybody around you. That is common sense. So this bill comports with that. The tax provisions are written for lower and middle class earners, hardworking families. This is going to be great for the economy and great for every American.
What about the
We're going to get it done.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Speaker. What about the SALT deduction? Because the Senate has made it very clear they're going to change it. And
from 40 to 10.
Right. And Lawler has already said, okay, he's out then. He's not going to vote for it. And many people in the New York and in California delegation are saying the same thing. So that would kill the bill. What's the latest?
Yeah, look, I've been working on that around the clock. I've spoken to individual senators. Leader Thune and I have talked about it ad nauseum, and the leaders over there. And of course, I'm trying to manage my House members on that. I told them not to modify our SALT negotiation that we reached, that agreement, much, if any at all, because that's a delicate balance that we have there. It's a big part of the bill, and it's what's necessary to cobble together the 217 votes that I must have to get the final product done into the president's desk. So they're playing with fire over there. I've tried to explain to them this is not a game, and we've reached that negotiation, that very delicate equilibrium, after about a year of negotiation. So for the senators to go in and meddle with it, look, they don't like it. I don't either. But this is a reality. We got to get our Republicans in the swing districts in California, New York, New Jersey, and elsewhere reelected, and this is key to that.
All right, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, what y'all think? Let me know. They said they say, Rick, sir, let Mike live, Rick. All right. I'm trying to give Mike a chance. I just don't know. All right.